Hello and welcome to the accounting channel. My name is Colin and happy new tax year. Today I want to show you a very quick video on how to calculate payroll for the tax year 2020 to 2021 using nothing but simple Excel functions and formulas. Let's get to it. Okay, so this is the spreadsheet for the UK version excluding Scotland. I've also done a version that includes Scotland's taxable income splits, which I'll talk about later. But for now, there are two things that you would enter here in the spreadsheet: the gross salary of the employee and the employee's personal allowance or tax code, which will be given to you by the government. Most people's tax codes for the year 2020 to 2021 will be 12,500, just as the same as last year. So let's say you're lucky enough to earn £110,000 a year. This will adjust your personal allowance down from 12,500 to 7,500 because personal allowance is reduced by £1 for every £2 earned over £100,000. Next, it will calculate your taxable income and split that between basic rate taxable income, higher rate and additional rate. You will pay additional rate over 150,000 of earnings. So if I change that to 155,000, you'll see that the extra 5,500 is now taxable at the additional rate. But let's go back to 110,000 for this example. You'll see the PAYE at different rates charge 20% of this figure and 40% of this figure to get your total PAYE. Then national insurance contributions for employees taxed at 12% and then 2% over the threshold of 50,000. That's your total national insurance contributions. Then it will calculate qualifying earnings for your pension if you're automatically enrolled and your pension deduction for the year to give you your net earnings take-home pay for the year. It will also take the gross salary figure, add the employer pension contributions and the employer's national insurance contributions at 13.8% over the threshold to give the cost to the employer as 125,000. Next, I'd like to just briefly explain this tax year's basic rate is still 20%, the high rate is still 40% and the additional rate is still 45%. The tax bands haven't changed either. The basic rate is for income from 12,500 to 50,000. The higher rate is for income from 37,500 to 150,000. And the additional rate is tax on income above 150,000. The personal allowance deduction hasn't changed from 12,500. The personal allowance reducer has not changed either, so you're still reduced by £1 for every £2 earned over £100,000. So effectively, you lose your personal allowance if you earn more than 125,000 a year. For national insurance contributions, the lower rate threshold or the primary threshold has been moved up to 9,500. So that means that gross earnings between 9,500 and 50,000 will be taxed at 12%, and gross earnings after the upper limit of £50,000 will be taxed at 2%. And for employers, this means that for any income over 8,788 per year, employers will have to pay an additional 13.8% for their employees' national insurance contributions. For pensions, gross earnings up to 6,240 will not be subject to contributions, but between the lower level of 6,240 and the upper level of 50,000, there will be a minimum 4% of the employee contribution and 3% for the employer. Because it's pre-tax, the government is technically providing 1% contribution, meaning that your total contribution from employer, government and yourself will be 8%. So that's 4% plus 3% plus 1%. After the upper level of qualifying earnings of 50,000, any earnings cannot be considered for tax efficient pension contributions. So effectively, if you want to top up your pension, you'll need to do it at a after-tax level. And finally, the Scottish payroll has the starter rate added in, the basic rate, intermediate rate. These are all different thresholds. You'll see here that the starter rate is taxed at 19, basic rate at 20, intermediate at 21, higher rate at 41 and the additional rate at 46. So it's in less favour of the richer or higher earning individuals in society. Taxed on income between 12.5 to 14.585 is taxed at 19% and so on and so on. So you'll see that someone earning £10,000 in Scotland will take home 70.731, whereas the same individual in the UK is going to take home less, 68,000. Okay, that's everything. If you'd like to have these spreadsheets, please just email or you can find them on firstaccounts.ie. Thanks very much.